Listen, y'all, I'm going to talk to you today about probably the most important spiritual principle that you can use in your life, and that this is probably the most practical thing. I know I talk about, Buddhist philosophy and oneness and duality and non-duality, all these things. But in practical terms, this is the most important thing, is trust. And it's almost ridiculous that as humans, like, there is this feeling that can arise, this untrust, this fear. But oftentimes, what is it that we actually fear? And how do we know that it is fear? You see, because this is a scientifically proven thing, but the symptoms of fear and excitement are the same. The shudders, the butterflies in your stomach, the increased heart rate. These are all things that you experience while you are fearful. Likewise, you experience them when you're excited in a good way. So fear is just excitement interpreted in a bad way. And all that is to say that when we look into our fear, not only can we be misinterpreting the response of our body as a negative thing, but also we can be interpreting that fear as something that is valid, in the sense that there is actually something to fear, which there is never anything to fear other than fear itself. Now let me explain. How many of us, if we were put in a situation that we must do something, there is something wrong, how many of us will immediately act like that and do something about it and solve the problem instead of worrying? You understand? Ask yourself that. If there's something that you need to do, or there's something that needs to be done, are you just going to go do it? Or are you going to worry? Because I can't speak for you, but I know for myself, if there's anything that needs to be done, I go do it. Okay? For example, if, I don't know, let's say, like, you're cooking and the stove catches on fire. You're just going to put it out. You're not going to sit there and stand and worry and let it engulf your house. You're going to deal with it. And all that is to say that if there was actually something wrong, you would just be doing something about it. But the fear arises when there is nothing wrong. That is to say, we interpret it as fear, but oftentimes, maybe it's just excitement for things that are to come, the unknown, really. Maybe our body sometimes knows good things are going to happen, or exciting or unknown things are going to happen. But because of human psychology and the conditioning of the self, it is interpreted as fear. And listen, in my life, I have experienced, everyone has experienced fear, but I have experienced fear, and I've realized that fear is often not valid, in the sense that there is never anything really to fear. Rather, it was fear in an egoical sense, a sense that the ego, the identity, the personality was not grasping onto control. You see, there have been many times in my life up to this point that I have had to let go and trust. Trust in the universe, trust in something greater than the individual that I am. Individual self, trust in something greater than the brain inside of this skull. And it is almost ridiculous to think that the brain can be all-knowing when the knowledge of the brain is inherently limited. In fact, we teach the brain things. Language is not something that is inherent. It is something that is learned and taught. Just as memory is, or anything you've learned in this life, it was taught to you, whether directly or just experientially by viewing it. That is to say, your brain only knows from what it has experienced. So how is it to ever know the unknown? As such, of course, feelings or stimulation is going to arise within the body when met with unknown. And it's really up to us to decipher that energy, if it is excitement or fear, because that is inherently the thing that determines how we view it, because the symptoms are the same. Now, in my videos, I talk about letting go of control and really being one with life, being in the flow in life, being one with the Tao. And it's more simple than you could have ever imagined. It's like this. Letting go, having faith, is not something that you plan. It is not something that you write down and say, I will do this today. It is something that happens spontaneously in this moment, whenever you decide. You see, if I want to open my palm, I'm not going to write a plan for it. I'm not going to tell myself I'm going to open my palm. Simply, I open it. As such, this is letting go. You just let go. There is no planning, there is no scheduling, there is no attempting to let go. Simply, there's letting go. And often in life, when we are grasping onto things, that is when we have the least amount of control. You know, let's say we'll take relationships for instance, or say that you want to be in a relationship with someone. If you're grasping and grasping and grasping onto that person, you're grasping so hard that you're strangling them, not letting it live. But you see, it is only with an open palm that we can receive. So if you're holding and grasping, how are you to receive? Nothing can come in here. Do you understand? And as such, in my personal experience, having faith can be something that takes a lot of strength. To go against your mind and say that I believe in something more powerful. I believe not only in myself, in my intuition, I believe in something greater. I believe in the patterns and the signs that I've seen. I believe that what I have been working towards is going to happen. And that takes a lot of faith. It takes a lot of strength not to grasp on and try and keep constantly looking for answers. Keep constantly looking and asking yourself, what must I do? What must I search for? And what must I grasp onto? But when you let go, you can receive it. When you grasp at it, it is not yours. Think about it. If you truly have something, must you grasp onto it? Or is it already yours? As such, when you want to receive something in life, it's almost like you have to let it go. Let's say you want to, you're looking to buy a car in auction. You have no control over what someone else bids. You have no control over how much money someone else is willing to spend and bet on that car. You can only control you and how much you bet. Now let's say you walk into this saying, oh, I must have it, and someone else bids on it, and you immediately raise that price, and someone else immediately raise that price, and without knowing it, you're constantly, one, increasing demand for that car, meaning more people are going to want it, and more people see it as valuable. Two, you keep raising the price on yourself for yourself to get it, and three, you're really just panicking for no reason, in the sense that you're not even like, to keep constantly bidding like that is almost to, it's not even playing your cards right, in the sense that if you wait, you can realize maybe less people are wanting this than initially, just going out there and immediately betting and raising and giving the impression that this is a hot commodity, when in reality maybe less people would bet if you hadn't immediately gone out the gun saying, I want this, and grasping at it. Because if other people see you grasping at it, what do you think they're going to do? But let's say you take another approach. You say, if I get it, I get it. You can't control what you cannot control. And let's say one person bets. The auctioneer goes once, twice, you raise. Immediately, the impression everyone else in that room has is not, oh, this is a hot commodity. It's not even that special. The price is barely going up. There's not much demand. And they say, oh, I might not want to invest in that. And so, you immediately have less competition. And let's say, you bid and bid and bet and bet, and, eventually that person gives out. Or maybe they don't. Maybe they get it. But at the very least, you have one, less competition, and two, that final price is going to be lower because there's less people raising that bid. And I guess all this to say is that there are just things you can't control in life. And if you're constantly grasping for control, constantly grasping to hold on to life and have everything be in this perfect way, I think you are missing life in what it really is. Because life is right here. It is already perfect. But life does not exist in the mental idea that you have it in. The idea of perfection you have. If you're constantly focusing on that, you're not focusing on life, which is right here and right now. And truly, to let go takes no effort. Just as you are hearing my voice, you are hearing it. There is no effort in it. It is something that inherently happens. Just as your heart beats without you needing to control it. Just as your eyes see without you needing to choose to see. Because this is the inherent nature of the universe. Things happen naturally. Because it is the nature of things, the nature of the way. And such, it is almost ridiculous to think that we are not part of that nature. Why would we be so special not to be a part of the nature of the entire universe? And ultimately, it really comes down to, will you fight your nature or not? Because your nature is your nature. There is no fighting it. Because even if you're fighting it, that is inherently in your nature. So whatever is to happen is whatever is to happen. But the hilarious thing is, the less you grasp, the less you try to control, the more control you have. And the more things go your way. And so it becomes less about faith or trust in the sense that you're trying to get somewhere. Rather, it's a trust that everything is okay and perfect the way it is now. And it is a trusting in yourself that if there were ever flames, that you could put them out. But to worry about flames that have not arisen, or maybe never will arise, is quite frankly ridiculous. So ultimately, ask yourself, Are the flames that you're worried about in your life real? Are they here and now? If so, are you doing anything about it? And if they aren't real, well, what are you doing? Trying to put out imaginary flames when life is right here and right now. Perfect as it is, and as it always will be. One love.